Hi, this is Tom Soane and welcome to another episode of the Anonymous Landlord. And today I want to tell you that a property investment strategy is not about what property you should buy, what areas you should buy, what types of tenants you like, what types of funding you should go for, what types of different investments you should get. A property investment strategy is more like a business plan, because you start including data and forecasts and evidence in order to be able to calculate when you're going to have cash flow, when you're going to be able to make profit, when you're going to be able to withdraw the increased value of the property that you've generated or earned, and all of those types of things, because you need to know when those things are going to happen, and you can forecast that. And this popped in my mind because I was interviewed on another podcast the other day. It was called the Ultimate Landlord podcast, and I was interviewed on that. And John, the host of that podcast, is very heavily into the data analytics side of property investing, which is awesome, by the way. You should definitely take that into account. But there is a common misconception that you go to a training course and they'll teach you a property strategy, which is, right, go and buy, refurbish, refinance properties, go and buy flips, and then when you're not doing flips, you source properties and sell those packaged deals to other investors. Now that's cool, that's a cool thing to do to build up some money, but it's not your strategy, because there's no substance to it, and you can't forecast how your property investment business is going to go. And you've got to treat it like a business. We're now becoming property entrepreneurs. We're not simple, some people might call you accidental landlords. Well, we're not talking about accidental landlords, because even if you are just a simple landlord who's got one property, you just want to make a little bit of profit, bit of security for the future, you have an obligation and a duty to optimize your profits, maximize your return on investment, to make it a safer home for your tenant. Think about it. If you're not making profit on that property and you're not making enough money, and the boiler blows up, for an example, and you've got to replace the entire boiler, but you haven't been making enough profit and you haven't got enough money to be able to replace that boiler, then are you doing the best service are you giving the best service you can give to your tenant? Well, I would say no. Actually, as a landlord, you've got to be an entrepreneur. You've got to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be profit driven, so that you can cater and service for the tenant. That's as simple as that. So how do you really come up with a property investment strategy? Well, look, obviously you can talk to a property investment, someone who's done property investment themselves and written business plans and so on. I mean, I do it for certain clients. I don't do it for everybody, but I certainly do have some one-to-one strategy sessions where we set out entire business plans, and that gets right down into the depths of business planning, in that to find out how many properties you need to offer on, how many properties you need to buy of what type, how much profit you need to make on each property that you rent out or flip, and then what cash flow are you going to have at any one time. You need to know month by month how much cash flow you're going to have, so that then you can see when you're able to invest in your next property. You'll also be able to see when you might be able to refinance all of those properties and how much you're going to generate based on historic data that will show you exactly how much appreciation you should achieve. And anyway, there's so much more than that, because you can also see when might be a good time to sell. You can see what are high demand areas, growth areas at any one time. And all of that will just come up with a series of tasks that could be week by week. You could know every single week exactly what you need to do to increase your yield, increase your return on investment, increase your cash flow, increase your income, minimize your risk. And always have enough contingency in case something goes wrong. Now that is a property investment strategy, not just what type of investment you're going to go for, and not just things like, well, I like 2-bedroom houses, so I'm going to try and buy 4 2-bedroom houses over the next 5 years. Well, you need to know when you're going to get those houses, because they don't just fall off trees, you know. They don't just sit there waiting for your business plan to come about. And also, they're always going to change in price too. Where are you going to buy? How much do you need in cash in order to buy them at that time? Because it's no good saying, right, I'm going to buy 4 properties in 4 years, but after the first property, after 1 year after the first property, you're not going to have enough cash or equity to be able to buy the next property. Well, that's just fallen flat on its face straight away. So you need to have a property investment strategy that shows you your cash coming in, when your cash is coming in, how much contingency you need to allow for, and then how much equity you're going to be able to release at what stage of your investment plan. And then it starts even earlier than that. How much can you spend on each property you buy? That might be nothing. It might be 10,000 quid, it might be more. But you need to understand how much you can spend and what budgets are going to be put in place. But then also, you need to know in the future, if you want to add a bedroom or build a conservatory or add an extension or something like that, move a bathroom from upstairs to downstairs to increase the number of bedrooms. If you want to do those things, you need to know what your budget would be in order for you to continue making money. And I've spoken quite a lot about true yield and how to calculate the budget for additions, improvements and alterations. I've spoken a lot about those things. Actually, have a listen to those podcasts. They're going to be very useful. But what I'm trying to say is there are so many companies and people out there who will sell you training courses on property investment strategies, and they'll have the answer. Of course they have the answer. They're a business. They need you to understand or believe that they have the answer that you need to spend your money on. And I'm not telling you not to do those investment courses, property investment courses and training programs, because a lot of them are very good. But a lot of those training courses do not actually give you a property investment strategy. They give you some ideas on where you can get properties from, what types of different property strategies there are. And if you think about it, and please let me know if you've ever been on one of the courses, on one of these property training courses, a lot of them don't actually teach you the nuts and bolts and nitty gritty of what to actually do and how to do it. They educate you about the strategy and about property investing and about different types of property investments and about how to make money and what money you can make and where you can get profit from and multiple streams of income and passive income and aggressive income and active income and all that. They'll teach you about those things, but no training course, well, that I know of, and I'd love to be corrected because I'd hate to think this is my only opinion of the industry, which I'm not in, by the way. I don't do training. I mentor a few property investors, but only a very small number. I very rarely take on any new property investment mentees, people that I mentor. But I'd love to hear from other training courses that do actually tell you the nitty gritty of what to actually do it, when to do it, how to do it, what to include in your daily activity, your daily task list. Which one of these training courses actually give you a task list? Do these things in order this week. Now, if any of these training courses do that, then please let me know, because I'd love to get them on my podcast so they can talk about their strategies and so on. But yeah, well, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not really having a rant about training courses, because hey, training courses are in property investment are normally run by people that have done property investment successfully and feel they have something to share. So my rant, I guess, if you like, is that don't confuse a property investment strategy with a property investment business plan, a to-do list, an actual strategy. Because what is a strategy? Strategy is a plan, right? Same thing. And a plan is a detailed guide. It's like a step-by-step guide, isn't it? That's what your business plan is. Step-by-step guide. But also, I've mentioned a couple of times now, contingency. Now, in any business plan, you've got to have a contingency. And in property, especially so. And I'll give you an example. If you set out that same example where you're going to buy 4 properties in 4 years, why, by the way? I don't know. You have to know why. You haven't just thought, I want 4 properties in 4 years. Why do you want 4 properties in 4 years? Why that time scale? Why that number of properties? Is it because of cash flow that you expect to generate on each property? If it is, that's a good way to start. But what happens if you buy a property and you don't rent it out for the amount that you initially forecasted? Well, then you need a contingency. What happens if during the refurbishment you end up spending an extra $1,000 or $2,000? You need a contingency. That's where your contingency plan comes in. What about in 2 years' time when you plan to refinance that property and then release some more cash so that you can reinvest? What happens if appreciation hasn't gone up over those 2 years and your property's still worth the same amount as when you bought it? You need a contingency plan for all of those things, and they're very easy to work. Well, do you know what? I was about to say that they're very easy to work out, but I have to be appreciative that, you know, not everyone's been doing this for as long as I have. Not everyone's worked with as many investors as I have, and been through as much education in property and investing and business as I have. And I'm nowhere near the top. There are people that are much more experienced than me and know much more than me. Of course there is. It's the same in anything. Even, you know, Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, he's not the person who knows the most about online retail. He's just the biggest of them all. But, you know, that doesn't mean you wouldn't listen to him. You wouldn't go and sit with him for an hour or two and learn from him. Of course you wouldn't. He learns from people. He probably has his own mentors. So, anywho, the point I'm trying to get to is you need a business plan, and there are lots of different pieces of information to include in that plan, and there's lots of places that you can get the correct data that will make your plan realistic and achievable. And that's the key, isn't it? Realistic and achievable. That has to be your plan. Now look, like I said earlier on, that I do those plans with investors, and I'm not trying to sell that service because I very rarely take on new investor clients. I only take on new investor clients either when I have a bit of extra spare time, or when I've reached one of my clients' goals with their investment journey. Perhaps we've reached their target, or, you know, because investors don't buy a property every day. Actually, some do. I do know some that do. But anyway, there are some, and most investors, let's say if you're going to buy one property every 4 years, then that's not a daily thing. So if, for an example, I've set a property investor up with a good investment property and they're going through those legals, and it's going to be 6 months before they buy their next property, then I might then take on another property investor client for that little interim period. But I don't take on many. I like to keep it small. I don't really do the whole big, loud training thing. I know I'm big and loud, but I don't do the whole loud training thing because I don't really like the big groups of training. I might do in the future, but at the moment I quite enjoy working with a real close little knit group of people that are serious about making money from property investing, and I show them as much as I can show them. I give them the actual strategies, the proper business plans, and some of them have been really successful from it. It's been quite enjoyable actually to see. But anyway, I've waffled on about that too much. What I guess I'm trying to wrap up and say to you all is, yes, these training courses are good, but if they're not giving you an actual business plan that tells you step by step, task by task, what you need to do in order to get to your property investment goals, then I don't think they're very good training courses at all. They might teach you about property investing, but if they claim to know the secrets, bearing in mind there are no fucking secrets in this industry. That really pisses me off when people say, I've got the secret strategy. You haven't. You've got a strategy. There are no secrets. There is just what you know and what you don't know, and we are all bound by the same rules in property. Finance rules, legal rules, purchasing property laws, selling property laws, rental laws, finance and bricks and mortar. There are no secrets because we are all governed by outsourced resources like agents and properties and lawyers and mortgage advisors and mortgage lenders and surveyors. So there are no secrets. There are tips, there's advice, there's strategies, there's insights. Anyway, imagine that if there was one person who ran a training course who had a secret that nobody else knows about, really. And if you had that secret, why would you be telling everybody else about it? If you had the secret to make millions and millions, why would you be telling everybody about it and making, if you could make a couple of million quid with a training company, but you claim to know the secrets, how everybody could, I don't know, make millions themselves, then why would you share that? Why wouldn't you go and make hundreds of millions yourself? Oh, let me guess, because you like helping people. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I don't know why I'm ranting about that. There are some really good training courses, actually. I'm not categorizing all training courses into one and bashing them. I don't really like the training courses that claim to have secrets. I don't like the training courses that claim they're going to tell you exactly what you need to do and end up training you about something rather than actually selling you and telling you the strategy, the business plan. So anyway, this whole episode might have turned into a bit of a rant, but it might not. But definitely the point I'm trying to get across to you is you've got to make a business plan, because you are now, if you're in property and you're invested in property, you are now a property investment entrepreneur. So that means you have a responsibility and a duty to make profit so that you can service your asset, first of all. You can service the tenant, second of all. And anything that goes wrong, you're prepared for. You know when you're going to make money and how. You know when you're going to be able to continue your investment. That's your responsibility as a property investment entrepreneur. So I'll leave it at that. And until the next episode, I would like to say that in order to be the best version of yourself at one thing, then you need to be the best version of yourself at everything. So hopefully I've just given you another one of those things, and I look forward to giving you and helping you become the best version of yourself at everything. But until the next time, my name is Tom Soane, as it always is and always has been, unless when I was a kid, when I was Thomas. Ugh. My name's Tom Soane, and this is the Anonymous Landlord.